Thank you.
You're muted, Steve.
Okay, well, I think we will officially start this session. My name is Steve Lloyd Moffett, and I am a professor of comparative religion in Cal Poly San Luis Obispo in California, and part of the organizing committee. And we have Saleh on Zoom Tech with us, who will be highlighting the different speakers as we go, and available for any support on the Zoom front. Today's session is dedicated to Kirtan, which is a sacred music and meditation that comes out of South Asia. It is a long-standing tradition and has played a role in many, many different communities over time. Today, this will come out of the Polestar community, and our organizer here is Michael Gornik, who has been part of intentional communities for over 40 years. He and his wife started the Polestar Gardens on the Big Island of Hawaii in the year 2000, which was a community and a farm and a retreat center. After the volcanic eruption abruptly ended that physical site, Polestar moved to Fort Collins, Colorado, where they continue to be in communication with developing a community there, and where Kirtan and sacred music has played an essential role in the building and the support, ongoing support of that community. So with that, I'll pass it on to Michael, and he can share more about the community and the role of Kirtan in that community. So Michael, the floor, or the virtual floor, is yours.
Thank you very much, Steve, and good to be here with everyone. Really glad to hear that there's people here who know about music and meditation, and how Kirtan can really be a binding reality for a community. In our case, my wife and I started, as Steve said, Polestar Gardens, which is an educational nonprofit, in 2000. And we did a Wednesday night Kirtan for 20 some years. And so it was hardly ever that we didn't have a Kirtan on a Wednesday night. And I really see it as something that built our community, that by people coming together, sharing. And of course, this happens everywhere throughout the world and in pretty much all spiritual traditions. When we spend time together in silence, in inspired music, in that energy field that is sacred music, we break down so many barriers, and we learn to relate to each other from a different space. And so our belief is that we can invest in that way of relating by continually practicing and going to that place. And so in the teachings of yoga, it's a neurological reality that we have to embrace. There's some training involved there. And so if our minds are always restless and we're always, spewing out this mental story, we don't really take the time to be in our other deeper self, which is transcendent, which is compassionate, which is intuitive. And so for me and for many of us, sacred music is just a very, very accessible door to open ourselves into that world. And we found too, because we have many people from different traditions, and we're kind of chant hounds, we love music from different traditions, because it's a way to relate to others and to reach into different spiritual realms even. But it became for us, because we had this Kirtan every Wednesday night in a beautiful setting on the Big Island of Hawaii, and it becomes, we chant for 45 minutes or an hour or more, and then we'd meditate for 10 to 15 minutes. And that becomes, as you practice it, more and more accessible. And the group helps that tremendously when we all sing, and I don't know, you've probably seen some of those studies they've done, people sing in choirs together, the heartbeats tend to synchronize, the breathing, we feel that oneness in a much more tangible way. And so it's a wonderful thing in a community, and a tremendously binding thing to a community to visit that place often and to celebrate that place. And then we come out and we see each other again in our separate bodies, and we share food and we do life, but just to continually touch base in that place is honestly so important to our community building that I really don't know how people who don't have at least some kind of a method to reach that place can manage, because we're all so, outwardly different, and we're all, have our stories and our egos and our, personal biases and desires. So this is one way to really reach for that transcendence. So what I'd like to do today is share a few of our favorite chants, and then meditate for maybe 5-10 minutes together, just so we have an experiential hit on what Kirtan is, which sounds like many of you already have, but all the better. And then we'll come back out and we can discuss a little bit. I'd like to hear other people's perspective on the chanting and anything we've shared about so far, and then we can sort of take it from there. I usually try to keep Zoom meetings to about an hour. We can go over if we're real excited to and still happening, but we'll shoot just so everybody knows what our target is. And so we're going to start. Some of you know Yogananda, who's been our teacher for many decades, and he really brought chanting to America. You may have heard the story. In case you haven't, he chanted in Carnegie Hall in 1920. Kind of an amazing thing. And he did one chant for over an hour. One chant. And we can play that chant later, actually, if you'd like to hear it. It's a beautiful chant too, called "Oh God Beautiful." It comes from the Sikh tradition, actually, I believe. But apparently everybody got so into the chanting that when he left the hall, they were still chanting the same chant. People just stayed, and there was a lot of healing that took place there. So it's very cool that he kind of broke the ice of the chanting tradition, because from a Western point of view, I remember a friend of mine, who's very into chanting, shared a little bit with his father. This was many, many decades ago. And his comment was, well, it's a little low on verses, because these chants are very repetitive, And so if your orientation is Western, it's like, well, where's the second verse and the third and the fourth? And well, no, the idea is to go deeper and deeper each time, each repetition, to add more energy, add more magnetism, add more sincerity and depth to what you're singing. And so this is the key to deep chanting. It's progressional, it's meditative, and it goes deeper and deeper with each repetition. So we're going to start with one of our favorite chants. And it was,
invite them to chant with us, but on mute.
Oh yes, thank you for that. You probably all know the drill. It doesn't work. We really want you to sing with us, but unfortunately we have to ask you to mute yourselves to do so, because we're slightly out of sync in time. But we have found that we can get very much in sync with the music despite that. So this is a lovely chant. Simple words: listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. And many different meanings you can construe to this, and I'll let you find your own. And we have to show you here, Vina is playing harmonium, and I am playing a guitar. And I will do a little ook chanting later on my ukulele, which is fun too. All right. So listen to my heart song. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. Listen to my heart song. Listen to my heart listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. So C, A minor, F. This next chant is a Hawaiian chant, and I'll say the words. If somebody there could type it in, Diva, I don't know if you could do that. Type it in, type the words into the chat. That might be helpful. E malama I ka heau. E malama I ka heau. E malama pono I ka heau. And it is repetitive, so you'll get the hang of it after a while. Then it has a very liberal English translation. Earth and sky, sea and stone, hold this land in sacredness. And each part is can be a counter melody to the other, so it is like a round if you want to sing it that way. F, C. I'd like to do one more chant, and we'll take this into a short meditation. Life is sweet and death a dream when thy song flows through me. And health is sweet, sickness a dream when thy song flows through me. Then joy is sweet, sorrow a dream when thy song flows through me. Song Let's meditate briefly now. Sitting up straight with eyes closed. Gently lift the gaze upward and slightly inward to the point between the eyebrows, spiritual eye. Focusing all your attention and energy at that point. Briefly scan the body to see that everything is completely relaxed. Feet and legs, hips, abdomen, stomach, hands and arms, chest, shoulders, neck, face, skull and hair. Letting go of body consciousness. Now letting go of all mental restlessness. Deepest calmness, deepest peace. Hold your heart and mind. Complete focus. Point between the eyebrows. Close our meditation by chanting Om together. By way of sharing with others whatever we have gained from our practice. So as we chant Om, you can visualize peace, healing energy, divine light spreading out in all directions, bringing health and vitality and understanding, healing to all souls.
Michael, I just wanted to remind you that this afternoon session is a little bit longer than an hour, but this is actually an hour session.
Oh,
Just,
it is.
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for chanting with us, everyone, and I would love to hear any questions or comments or yeah, anything you'd like to talk about related to this topic of yeah, chanting and sacred space in spiritual community and community building.
I'll ask a question to start off with. One of the very first ICSA conference I went to was in Findhorn and got to know the Dominer people. And I was talking to one of them at dinner, and they said oftentimes when there was conflict at Dominer, they would dance together to resolve the conflict. Have you ever sort of had conflict and be singing is the pathway to resolve?
No, what a great idea, though. That is the dancing seems like that would do a lot to move the energy along. You know, the approach we've taken is just to continuously invest in the relationships in all the way, and that's what this Terry was talking about this afternoon. That's what we're going to talk about. We have 4 primary ways we try to invest in the relationships ongoingly, and so we try to keep the bank account really full there, and we've been in some very intensive living situations, you know, shared kitchens, shared bathrooms, you know, all that sort of thing, where it's really the front line, so to speak, of community living, and had a surprising amount of harmony, really, and you wouldn't say quite drama free, but awful close, you know, you know, just and relationships and friendships that have endured down the decades, you know, so. I think that's the intent of a spiritual community, is to make that investment process front and center. Like we often say, the main thing is to keep the main thing. You know, you ever heard that line? So we're just trying to bring ourselves back there constantly, and that seems to carry the day well for us. So yeah, thanks. Fun story.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I tell a brief vignette from one of those times? Because it's tied to chanting. Chanting is an intro to pretty much meditation central to what Polestar holds, the silence. But chanting, as Yogananda used to say, is half the battle. It brings you right there to where it's an easy step into silence. And this is from a Michael Gornik time. He and his wife were 40 years ago, were the house parents of a group home. And, you know, everybody moved in. It was a brand new home. It was about 8 units, about 10, 12, 14 people. And the agreement moving in was that everybody would meditate together once a day. And it was lovely for a while. And within a matter of, you know, a month or two, usual things started showing up. You know, people were sniping at each other, and all the little pettiness that shows up often in human relationships in close quarters was there. And one fellow was so dramatic, he was going to move out because somebody left toast crumbs on the counter. You know, just the intensity. And a house meeting was held, and Michael and Ann, they said, well, these are, you know, everybody's at odds, and that's a big issue, but let's ask a question first. Who's been coming to the group meditations every day? And of course, Michael knew the answer because he was there every day and almost nobody else was. And he said, let's try something before we solve this in other ways. Let's just recommit to coming together and meditating together, chanting and meditating together on a daily basis. And the next morning, everybody was there. And I swear to God, that afternoon, by that day, the issues were gone, because it gives a place to connect that's deeper than the surface differences. So it's a place to connect where we all breathe the same air. We are all connected to joy and wholeness. And so just that wisdom, you know, that's at the center of Polestar. It doesn't always work as easily as that, but that was a graphic example of where it can take you, and with very little effort, if you keep, as Michael said, the main thing, the main thing. So anyway, I'll drop off from that, but
Thank you, Don.
And Michael, people might want to know briefly what we're doing in Fort Collins with Polestar Village as well.
Oh yeah, I'll mention it briefly. So as Steve said, our big dream in Hawaii went poof. You know, a big fire ceremony there. The volcano came, and we say the volcano ate it. And but we did have lava insurance, which is a thing on the Big Island, and so we actually started looking everywhere for a place that would sort of match our vision of how we wanted to live. And we found this 20 acres in the city limits of Fort Collins that is just, we love it. And so it's a very ambitious development project, 144 units on on 20 acres, and it includes a large community garden and sacred space for yoga and meditation, and big dining hall with commercial kitchen. And so a lot of it's kind of co-housing meets new urbanism meets spiritual community, all in one place, and we received a unanimous decision from the Planning and Zoning Board 2 months ago for approval. And we are still in the process. We have an appeal from our neighbors, so we're navigating that, but we hope to break ground late this year is where that project stands. So thanks for mentioning that, Terry. It is very, very fun, and it'll be a very unique sort of expression of the communities movement, because we've just tried to put and many of us, Diva included, have been involved in intentional communities for many decades. So we've seen it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And this is the one where we're trying to just bring everything we know about intentional community to bear on this newly designed village. So we're real excited about it. It's very, very fun
Did you
project.
see that Mitchell has a question?
Sure, Mitchell, go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering about the use of space a little bit. A lot of what I look at is sort of trying to break down the dualistic view of material versus spiritual, and sort of see things in a less dualistic way. And I mean, this experience, I really felt connected to you all, actually, and we are all over the world here, and of course there are uses of sacred space. At our church we have the sanctuary where we try to avoid silence, or try to use silence, observe silence, unless it's sacred sound, so to speak, sermons or affirmations or music. And a lot of the groups I study too in the Second Great Awakening here in Western New York, in the 19th century, some of their sort of radicalism was that they would preach in fields and in parks and outdoors, and sort of coming out of the church as a sacred space. So I don't know. And then, your move from Hawaii to Fort Collins and everything. I was just wondering, I guess I don't have a specific question, but if you could give a couple thoughts on sacred space, the uses of space, and how to create sacred space.
Okay, no, great topic. Yeah. A couple of things spring to mind. First of all, because Hawaii was so idyllic and so remote, and that has advantages, because you can set up a energy and a vibration and really hold it, in a very deep and wonderful way. On the other hand, it's so remote and so impractical in terms of your daily life, and our vision has always been that it's you gotta live there. You can't just go on retreat for a week. I mean, anybody can go on retreat, that's a great thing, but it's all the hours of the day, it's all the days of the week, it's all the weeks of the year that we want to be connected to our deeper self, So we really, our vision had always been to be in a more urban environment, but we did Hawaii because doors opened and we went there just because we were guided there. But it had always been to try to have a much more practical expression of spiritual community, where you could have a job and raise your family and you could spiritualize a normal human life, So that's one thing that springs to mind. And then also, it is really great to have certain spaces in your house or that you frequent, when they're just set aside for sacred practice. And Yogananda mentions this in his very first lessons about meditating. He says, take a room or a section of a room and put an altar there and keep the energy so that, when you go there, it helps you, invite you into that vibration of peace. So definitely, that is part of the plan. And where we lived for many years in Ananda Village in Northern California, there must be at least 11 temples in that place, and some of them are small and great for that exact thing, so you can keep and hold a very pure energy there. So thanks for the topic. Yeah, anybody else have anything to say on that, or anything, any other topic as well?
Yeah, I was going to follow up on that. I didn't know your connection to Nanda Village, but has there been an attempt to bring together some of the Ananda communities? Because in our local area, we have Sunburst that are, been influenced by Yogananda. Of course, there's Nanda Village. Have you been in contact with them, or is there an attempt to bring those together?
We have had so what city are you in? Oh yeah, San Luis Obispo. That's right. They have their big store there. Or did they sell that all to
Yeah, they ended up selling that, but Sunburst is still, it's about 45 minutes south of here and still
yeah, but
thriving. Yeah.
Polestar has made an active attempt to do just that, connect with a lot of the Yogananda groups, and we have actually done Kirtan at Sunburst Farm. This was probably about 6-7 years ago now, and it was fabulous. So they have a beautiful musical tradition. So we did a sort of a joint Kirtan and stayed at the farm, the ranch out there for a while. It was very beautiful. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful people. And I lived at Ananda Village for 24 years. So I have many, many dear friends there. And Self-Realization Fellowship is the other main Yogananda organization I know about. And I've been involved with them in various ways, not as much, but over the years as well. So, yeah.
Well, in keeping to the time schedule, because I know we have another session coming up, so we just have a final minute. If Michael or anybody part of Polestar wants to give a final thought, we can end with that.
I could add a story that I recall.
Okay, you got 1 minute.
From Polestar, where we did sacred chanting for 9 days in a sacred music festival. And in talking about that sacred space, it's really within us that we're connecting with the sacred space within all of us, taking us to our home, carrying around that portable paradise within us. So I was brought to that through this chanting process of several days. Just, we did the Gayatri mantra 108 times. We went out finally into this Unity church outdoor, and these neighbor Fijian girls were singing this chant. And I was meditating, and I had lost all body consciousness. At that point, I really was brought to the most beautiful space where I saw all of my relatives, past and everything, and they were right there. And I was like, I can't believe it. You're just right there. How did I get it wrong this whole time? And so when you just evaporate it all, we just become what we really are with everything.
Thanks, Joe.
What a wonderful way to end. Thank you, Michael, and all the Polestar folks for sharing your voice and your heart and your story. And for those who want more, it looks like in the final session of the whole conference this afternoon, for those of us on in the States, Michael and Terry and Vina will be talking more about authentic connections and more of that history. So I invite everybody to take part in that. With that, I will stop the recording and we'll take a 15-minute break, and we'll have in this class, in this room, we will have a series of academic talks on the kibbutz, on COVID coming to the farm, and then I will be talking on orgasmic meditation. So that will be here in about 15 minutes. So thanks again to both
Thank you,
stops.
Steve and Kamsala. Nice to meet you both.